Hey everybody, welcome to the show. I'm your host, Gennaro. My co-host over here to the left is Erik Rizk, as always. And today's guest is Sulaco. How are you doing, guys?
What up?
Why don't you guys introduce yourself? We don't. Nice.
What's going on, man? I'm Erik.
Okay.
I think you can see you. I don't know. No,
I can see how this is going to go already.
He's trying to move the amp.
Hold on. Technical difficulties.
You got a sweet setup going on here. Oh, God!
This makes it more eventful, though. I think.
Yeah, I was going to say I could always edit this out. But,
No, keep it in. Keep it in. It's fun.
We probably could have just moved our chairs.
Yeah, I don't know why we just didn't move the chairs close.
I like that. Keep that in. Don't edit it out.
Is Brian in the shot? Brian,
I don't need to be in the
he's
shot.
always on the fringe.
All right, sorry, man. We're a little
Cheers.
small. Well, maybe.
I'm
Brian.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
How you doing, man?
Good.
So I should.
Nice.
So Brian's over there to the left. Who else do we got?
I'm Crif. I played drums.
Cool.
Ron, play bass.
Jason, I do the vocals.
We're like in school. Raising our
That's
hands.
Erik. He does guitar and vocals.
Okay. So you guys have a new EP out, the Privilege EP. I've listened to it a bunch on Bandcamp where it's available.
Thank you.
No problem. It's always the price is also set up correctly. I like that when I can pay whatever I want, so that's always nice and appreciated.
But it's hard times, so if you can give more, give more. Come on.
Yeah, definitely supporting the
Support.
underground.
Don't be a cheapskate. Don't be a cheapskate.
So I was looking at your guys' profile a bunch, to take my notes and stuff, and it looks like this is the first recording with Jason.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, and it looks also like he came onto the band like right after you recorded your last full length, which was The Prize, right?
Yep.
So
Indeed.
just walk. So what spurred that on? Because I kind of have an inkling I know, but you guys tell me.
Well, I've been over singing for a very long time, and I've been looking, kind of always had my ear open to try and find someone else. But we're kind of particular, and I heard Jason sing a couple times before, playing with Brian's old band, and his sound always stuck out to me, but I didn't really know Jay all that well. And we weren't really pursuing it that much. Like I talked to some people here and there, but then after The Prize that we recorded, and I hated my vocals on it, and I just thought they were shitty, and I was like, man, fuck this shit. And I asked Brian one day, I'm like, yo, what's up with that dude Jay? And he goes, dude, Jay would be into it. So we asked Jay, and before we knew it, he showed up to practice, and we ran through a bunch of tunes, and it was a perfect fit. He's got a similar sound to mine, and then he's got his own thing happening. So it works out really well.
Yeah, I was gonna say because listening through the stuff, I totally didn't even realize that you had a different singer, and it wasn't until I went back checking through the notes that I was like, oh shit, wait, that's a different guy. But obviously you were doing some vocals too on the new album, the new EP.
Yeah, just a couple parts. I just chime in on a couple things. I'd rather just rock out and let Jay do his thing now,
Yeah, I was gonna say, my theory was that when you do those technical guitar parts, I can't even imagine doing those and trying to memorize lyrics at the same time. Like that just sounds horrific. In the studio, who cares? But live, I just can't even imagine that.
Yeah, we usually try to skip those songs.
They turn into instrumental parts.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. Actually, you guys played MDF last year. How was that?
Oh, it's great. We played it a couple times, and it's always interesting because we're kind of the oddballs in the crew, like we're a band that smiles and has fun, and we're kind of corny and shit, where like everyone there is kind of like dudes in bands. There's not many bands that are like that. Everyone's very serious and brutal,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun, but I mean, we love it. I mean, we get a great response from it, and
That's great.
and we make a lot of friends each time we play. And I've been fortunate enough to play that festival with a bunch of my different bands, and I love. It's one of my favorite times to have. So it's really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, I did notice that you were in a ton of different bands. I don't want to cause any strife, but in your band in Sulaco here, but
fuck all that other shit.
So were you guys playing out a lot before the pandemic hit?
We played that week.
Yeah.
That was our last.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
We opened for Pathology was on tour.
March 11th we played, and then I think March 15th, my job sent us all home until June. So
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
We were supposed to play in Toronto that weekend,
Yeah.
and that was the first, cancellation. That was right when everything was getting shut down. It was pretty wild.
That is wild.
TFD
Yeah.
that got canceled.
Yeah.
That sucks. I want to play that show really bad.
Record archive.
So obviously you guys are still. So obviously you guys are still rehearsing. I assume on a regular basis. I'm assuming you're not rehearsing for shows. Does that mean that you're sort of like doing a lot more writing now that the pandemic has hit?
No,
just keeping
more
it
fucking off.
You're fucking off.
A lot of drinking beer. And
We've been drinking a
A
lot.
lot of drinking.
We still get together, and we haven't. Our productivity has kind of been all over the place, but we've been drinking. We've been really good at drinking.
We had some really good therapy sessions, and I think we all
Yeah.
feel better about our lives.
It's true.
Okay.
Really come out emotionally.
We've come out. Yeah, it's a wonderful thing.
Some kind of monster. Yeah.
Some kind of
It's like some kind of
monster.
monster with no therapist and no
Our therapist comes in.
Yeah.
Buddy.
I noticed that you guys also recorded like literally every single one of your records at the same place with the same guy, which I thought was kind of interesting. Just from being in bands, I feel like every one of my CDs was at a different place. So to see you guys having a 17-year career all doing stuff at the Watchman Studios, that seemed like pretty abnormal.
Yeah, we've known Dougie for a long time, and he's just very efficient with time, and he knows what we're looking for, and he kind of knows our style. I've been recording with him since 1992, and he kind of knows. I don't know. He just kind of knows me in and out. Sometimes a little too good, and but yeah, I'll always go to Doug. He's an awesome guy, and he's done great for himself at his studio, and he's got a great clientele, and yeah, we love Doug.
It sounds really good. The recording sounds really good.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, and I saw you had it mastered with Alan Douches. We've worked with him before too.
Yeah.
Good guy.
Neil Kernan mixed it, and he did he's done the last three. He did The Prize and Build and Burn, and we like the spice he puts on with what he does.
Guitar tones.
Yeah, he makes it a little bigger, and yeah, we love both those guys very much.
So while you guys were staying at the same studio, you definitely have bounced around on a bunch of different labels. It's almost like a who's who a little bit, with Willow Tip on there and Relapse and a bunch of names I recognize. Your new one though is self-released. Are you guys looking for a label, or is that, are you done with that type of thing?
Watch the G word.
Yeah. I haven't had enough beers yet. If I had maybe 2 more beers, you guys would probably tell me to stop. But I don't know. This one was just a situation where we've been talking translation lost. We're still talking with those guys.
Okay.
But, they would much prefer to have a full length, which is very understandable. So we kind of have a rough plan in place to write a few more tunes and record those as well, maybe about the same amount of material, and then release them both out on a full-length vinyl.
So sort of like the old, like the 2021 on one side and maybe a 2021 on the other side.
Yeah.
Okay,
Cool.
so
I
physical.
don't know. We've had some offers to do discs for this one, and I don't know. We haven't really even talked about that.
Yeah, I heard that from.
So yeah, I don't know, but I mean, we really would prefer to have a record, and they prefer to have a full length. So I think that's where we might be able to meet halfway.
Yeah, with this one, we just needed to get some stuff out with Jay on vocals. We've been eager to get some new stuff out since the prize, and I came back into the band after the prize, after a hiatus from the band, and then Jay. So we really just wanted to get some new stuff out and not have to deal with the label thing. And sit here off camera. But
Yeah, I was gonna say, who the heck is talking?
Not deal with the label stuff and everything, and just put it out, get it out there for everyone to hear was the most
Right,
important.
but okay, so somebody who I don't know, whoever that was, that took a hiatus from the band, and
Yeah,
I noticed that looking through your discography, there were a bunch of hiatuses. It looks like, but I think everybody is, with the exception of Jason, is on all the records.
No.
No,
I'm
okay.
only on Build and Burn and this one. So I was in the band, for a few years before Build and Burn, and then I was also in another band at the time. So Sulaco went on a slight hiatus, and I left Sulaco and dealt with my one band. And then when that band broke up, I came back to Sulaco. So there was a period during the prize that I was not in the band.
Okay.
So the prize is actually a 3-piece.
Okay.
Did you ever think about going back and putting yourself on there and rewriting history?
No, the songs are hard enough to learn and write, so I don't want to have to learn more songs than I have to.
Yeah. Push forward.
What is the writing process like for the band? Do you write it all together in a room, or someone comes in with ideas and you work off it, or what would you say?
It's a riff. Whoever has a riff, and we just write around those riffs. So,
Okay. Live in the rehearsal space, you're writing.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So if a riff happens or a series of riffs happens, we usually have an idea of of what we're hearing in our head, and then Chris will get the drums on, and then then I'll learn it or Erik will learn it. It's kind of like a process of almost like a production process where it starts with Erik or me, then Chris, and then the other guitar player learns it, then bass, and then vocal. Jay will be working on the vocals during the whole time. But yeah, it works out well that way.
Cool.
So Jay's writing some of the lyrics now, I assume?
Yeah.
Maybe not for long, but
All
Just
the
kidding,
lyrics
just
on
kidding.
this release, yes.
And what kind of stuff do you write about?
yeah.
Without being too explicit, of course.
And what's his name? Jason Long.
Justin Long.
Justin Long.
Justin Long, Whores and Bears. Two of the songs, like Warning Signs and Full Tomb, were all just piecemeal lyrics from really since I've been 16 and on, that I never got to use in other bands and stuff like that. But then fixed this and cut up our super, kind of personal lyrics and stuff like that. Mostly about, not boy-girl relationships per se, but just relationships in general with other people.
Yeah, I always find that personal stuff is a little bit more interesting than writing about Vikings or zombies or whatnot.
Yeah.
Exactly. Real life.
What else are you guys into besides music? Do you got any weird hobbies or anything that might be interesting?
No. I'm about as domesticated as you can be.
Yeah, music and video games. Me and Brian, we play video games. So does Crif. But Crif's a mad camper. He loves camping.
Actually, I like the outdoors too. A lot of good places upstate, I'm sure, where you go, right?
Yeah, lots of nice state parks we have.
Yeah, hike, yeah.
Hell yeah.
I have 2 dogs, a 5-year-old. I like being in bed by 9. It's perfect.
Rock and roll.
Rock and
Do you
roll.
have you have like a day job that you got to get up for early in the morning or
Yes.
something?
Very much so, yeah.
Yeah.
That's so bad.
I just looking over my notes and stuff. So because I noticed that there were two pretty big hiatuses with the band. Did you guys break up? Did you just go on hiatus, or you just didn't release anything?
No, we're just slow. That was kind of, yeah, we had 2 big spaces between records, and it was ridiculously long. And things were in the way as well, too, though, because I was playing in Brutal Truth and Nuclear Assault, and there were some busy times, little bits here and there. And I was sometimes writing for Brutal Truth, and I can only do one thing at a time sometimes. It's just the way it is. And but we've always still been going. It's just sometimes it was a little slower, and that was a big part of like why we did this release as well, is because 2 years good enough. You know, let's try and keep a 2-year cycle rather than a 6 or a 7-year cycle, because that's kind of sad.
Right, but it's got to be rough if you're like on the road with those guys for a really long time. I mean, you obviously can't be practicing. I assume now, you know, with the interwebs and stuff, you guys can keep in touch and everything a lot easier. Do you ever send riffs back when you're on the road or anything ridiculous like that?
I've written riffs on the road, definitely, but I've never sent them back. I just bring them back. I'm ready to go, you know. But I've never really been out of town for long periods anytime, you know. It's just been little bits here and there, and it's been a while, so I don't really see much in the future.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a rough road getting back to live shows and even a tour. I would be real hesitant to book anything, you know.
Yeah.
You know, not that you could even go to Europe if you wanted to, but, you know, I couldn't imagine going over there and being told, you know, after 2 weeks, you know, get the heck out of here.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a lot, what bands do you guys like to play with? Or who have you been going out on, you know, what kind of tours have you ever done?
Well, we've only ever really toured. We did that one big tour that was quite a while ago. I think it was in 2006 or 7, 6. And, but we haven't really, we just try and get out and do like weekends and stuff like that, you know. Like we'll play in New York City and Philly for a weekend. You know, everyone's got jobs and it's hard to get away for a period of time like that.
What is the scene like now in Rochester? Are there local bands you play with, or not really?
Well, pre-COVID, because right now, you know, it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
Right now, but
It's
it's very diverse.
yeah, it's very clicky.
It's clicky. There's a lot of bands, but there's a lot of young bands and a lot of throwback.
We're all old now, so we don't get to, you know, talk with the children.
Okay.
They don't like us.
It's funny because all these guys were all the guys that I grew up listening to, you know, when I was in high school and such, which hence sounding similar to Erik.
How old are you?
Don't worry about it. Like these were all my musical influences, so it's kind of funny to see that now as, you know, like being within it. So I don't really know too many of the newer bands. I only know like the '90s bands and shit.
Cool.
Yeah, I've definitely seen a lot of that on the, you know, again, now that COVID has hit and I'm sort of on the internet, you know, poking through Facebook and all that crap, and you know, people are bringing up all this 80s stuff, and I'm like, Jesus, they, you know, don't you know more than that? And they don't, and it's weird. And I don't think it's the younger people. I think it's the older people too. Like, you know, some of them cut off at 85, and some of them cut off at 95, and it's just funny. I was gonna say, I'm also glad that I'm not the only one with a gray beard. Usually, that's my calling card.
Lon Bun,
That's great.
the mighty Bun.
So obviously you guys have been around for a long time. I did, you know, I was kind of thought it was cool that you got to do something with Soylent Green, because that's definitely, being an an old school metalhead, that was a name that I definitely saw around for a while, and they always had those kind of cool album covers that again weren't like very much else. While everybody else was doing skulls and stuff, they had some cool stuff. The Alphonse Mucha covers. How did that split, a 7-inch split, get set up?
I don't know.
You don't remember?
Let It Go.
Yeah, it was the dude
Oh, yeah,
from
let it go. Yeah.
It's too long ago.
out of Arkansas. Well, it was supposed to come out on Blow It Go through this dude in, I believe, Arkansas in like 2004 or 5. And we ended up tracking it, and Soylent was recording their new album, so they did an extra track for it. And then everything was recorded, and then the guy, like something happened, I don't remember what happened. And he couldn't put it out, and like a year and a half later, Ben from Soylent was like, well, fuck it, I'll just do it. And so he basically put it out, but it's still on Blow It Go. So I don't understand that, but
Well, he was
Ben pushed it through.
Erik, that dude Erik from Let It Go was like best buds with Ben.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know.
they were all
dynamic
friends.
was. Yeah.
Ben was friends with those guys. But yeah.
Okay, so they reached out to you guys to do that? Or,
Yeah, well, we played a bunch of shows with them.
okay.
And like Matt Bryan through I Hate God previously, and stuff like that. But,
Yeah, just shows.
Yeah.
So who are your other influences going back? Because now you can start whipping out some names that I know.
Oh, God.
Dead Guy for me.
Human Remains.
Okay, I think they're from Jersey, right?
Yeah, they're from Jersey.
Yeah.
This guy's definitely Jersey. Come on.
That's New Jersey.
Yeah, that's all New Jersey.
Yeah, New Jersey sound.
We like New Jersey.
And really a lot of Rochester bands for me. Lethargy,
Big hair.
Monk Bean Demon, stuff like that. Like I said earlier, like that's the stuff that I was listening to mostly. And then as far as like bigger bands, yeah, it'd just be like, well, bigger, metal, bigger, but Dead Guy and such. So.
Yeah, lots of the quirky metal shit in the '90s kind of. I think when Lethargy was kind of a big influence with me too. Like when I saw my first Lethargy show, it kind of the band I was in at the time, we were like, we want to do something like that, where it was kind of quirky, but like heavy, just crazy.
Yeah, because you guys definitely do like a lot of grindy type of stuff. And I saw that you listed, progressive on your thing, so that probably just comes from the riffing, I assume.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what progressive is.
I like progressive rock bands, really progressive metal bands.
Yeah,
Too much, but
we get into some odd time signatures and stuff like that. So I mean, technically it's progressive, but
I like 70s rock.
yeah.
No, I always think it's important to have other influences besides just regular metal crap, because if you're not bringing in other new stuff into it, it's just going to end up sounding like everybody else. And I always find it sort of odd, looking at metal archives where they try to figure out what is and is not metal, and I'm like, it's so rough because anybody who's worth their weight in salt is bringing in other things, so it's hard. It's going to be too hard to slice and dice it after a while.
Yeah, I've been talking about bringing a Fiona Apple riff into one of our songs for the past couple of years, and I'm dead serious. I just have to remember which riff it is.
Yeah, we get into these weird discussions about what we're listening to, and no one's ever like, hey, by the way, I'm just crushing some, fucking.
I literally asked Erik today about which The Weeknd album I should get because I heard one song that I loved.
No, I'm big into R&B. I don't even listen to a lot of metal. One of the songs that's on this new recording of ours is
getting sued.
is the melody is actually from an R&B guy whose name is The Dream, and it's the song Full Tomb, and it's that first riff that's actually a vocal melody, and so I hear metal riffs through R&B all the time, you know, and sometimes it translates good, and lots of times it doesn't, but every now and then I get a gem here and there, and like, I really like the way that came out.
Sure. Cool.
You know, now that you need a couple more tunes for your next year's record, are you thinking about any covers?
Covers, whoa.
No, don't do it.
Do it.
We were thinking about doing an obituary cover album.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't go wrong with obituary.
Maybe a show, all obituary show.
We'll do an obituary show.
Who knows? It'll probably just be another weird improv track with us chanting a weird fucking a-hole. You know, who knows?
Yeah, that last track, I kind of figured that was improv. What is the instrument in the beginning? Is that like, it almost sounded like a banjo a little bit.
It is.
Okay.
Who plays
there
banjo?
going on, and it all came together very nicely.
I got some video. I should do like the making of.
Yeah.
Where I'm crawling around and throwing newspaper and paper and shit with microphones.
Yeah.
We're all huddled around the mic doing that.
Oh, do the chant? You got that video?
Yeah.
Oh, you got to put that. Yeah.
Who played the banjo on it? Who played the banjo?
I was playing it.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know, what was happening, but the mic was hot. Crif was going crazy. There was crazy sounds like this. I don't know what happened.
All right.
Just a lot of fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
Did you plan to do an improv tune going into the studio, or that just came about while you were there?
I think we wanted to do something.
It was very loose talk,
Yeah.
and then it just kind of just happened.
We
And
probably thought it would be something kind of serious, but we're a bunch of assholes, so it just like
Yeah.
comes out goofy no matter what we do improv-wise.
And the chant felt very appropriate. It's like, I don't know why. I feel like there should be a chant.
Did you actually go in afterwards and put the chant in, or was that part of the improv?
I think it was that was part of it. We did it all right there.
We were working on some ideas.
Now how about we do this?
Yeah.
That
There's
was
some-
some strange later because I was there. I was in the next day.
Yeah, probably the next day then.
So that was the next day.
For the vocal.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a rule that these guys aren't going by. There was a rule in my last band. Whatever idea I come up with in the studio, just tell me no, because it's bad. Like my last band, I had the worst ideas. Like last second, like, oh, let's do some group vocals, and learn some. Maybe you should rap over this song.
Clouds. Let's put clouds on.
Yeah, let's do this, let's do that. Like, I get these stupid ideas, but I think you guys don't listen to me as much. It works out good.
All my ideas involve performing naked, so we're not.
Well, you got it.
Do you guys go back and play any of the old tunes still from the first couple, the EP or the first couple full lengths?
Every once in a while.
Yeah, we haven't done anything from the first EP in a bit.
We're talking about bringing a song back into the set so Jay can do some yelling over it, and then another bringing back a song off of Tearing, which would be good. It'd be cool to have something play a bunch of the old shit too, maybe pepper it up a little bit. But most of the stuff is newer though, off Prize and this new thing. Whenever we play, we don't play super long, maybe 35, 40 minutes. Depends on how long we're fucking off with the crowd, because when we play here in town, there's a few goons that always show up, and there's a lot of on-stage banter that goes back and forth where there's shit talking, and you never know how long the set can go.
Maybe a random raffle.
Yeah, it might be a raffle. We might raffle something off. Who fucking knows? We play a lot of benefits. We do. It's fun because it's fun.
How often were you gigging before the pandemic started? you said you did mostly weekends and stuff, but it was like was it every weekend or you know?
No. If there's ever a chance we try and get out of town, it's usually for like a weekend. So like as far as being like that busy, it was never like that.
Like once a month.
Yeah, maybe once a month, and that's just locally, you know, and then if we get a chance to go down to New York, we play in New York, and then try and tie in a Philly, you know, something that's close together where we can at least make a couple bucks and bring a little bit home to save towards the next record and shit like that, you know. We're definitely not any kind of road warriors.
Yeah. Again, you know, I mean, everybody I know has been in a metal band at some point, and I've heard a lot of stories, and you know, I certainly have a lot of regrets about things that didn't happen. But people would always say, like, what did you really want to go and live on the road? Like, that life sucks. Why would you want to do that? And it you know, it
depends though, you know. I got two friends that went and did it, and they were determined, and they were hell-bent on winning, and they fucking won, and that's the dudes in Macedon. So,
shit.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's, I've seen dudes that are driven that can do it, you know, so you really got to be hell-bent.
Yeah.
And obviously you got to have the talent too, but hell-bent, those guys, they were on tour for like the first 5 years of their band, so it's
they toured relentlessly, like
yeah. They fucking earned it.
Yeah,
I could never fucking do that.
Yeah.
I could never do it. I like being home. I'm a mama's boy. I like being around my friends. I like getting out of town for a minute, but I like being able to come home and chill, you know.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely heard stories about bands, you know, and again, a lot of times in the 80s, where, you know, they would go and they'd be touring for 2 years, but they'd still be staying in motels with roaches and stuff like that. And I think that turned a lot of like good bands off from doing music, or at least caused them to sell out, you know, or release shitty music in the hope of, you know, being poppy or whatever.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's it, you know, half of me saying that there's no money in metal is just wanting to accept it, so that you just say, you just don't worry about it, you know, and just do the music that you want to do, as, you know, instead of sitting there and trying to figure out what's going to sell or not.
Yeah, you can't do that, man. You got to do what's in your heart, because, I mean, that's why our band's been going for 18 years. Yeah, we were a little slow here and there, but it's like, we could play the Bug Jar here in town and play to 15 dudes on a Thursday or something and still have a fucking awesome time. You know, we're not at it for that.
Yeah, you're doing what you want to do.
We haven't been working on anything. We've been more just riffing as dudes, you know, and just keeping it real that way, you know, and writing a little bit here and there. But
we've all spent way more money on Sulaco than we made.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
And that's
What do you got? You got anything else, Erik?
No, I guess we could wrap it up. You know, the half hour, keep it a half hour. Is there anything else you guys want to promote, or anything coming up, or anything, you know, you'd like to add?
Fuck, I mean, nothing's coming up.
Yeah, you're right.
The only thing that's really coming up for us is that we're gonna just have some new merch for sale to help promote the record. That's about it. We'll have some T-shirts and some random shits with our name on it and whatever's and
Net gators.
And some neck gaiters,
Okay,
and some
cool.
koozies,
All
you know,
right.
some shit to promote your drinking,
Mhm.
and because that's what we love doing. And yeah, I guess that's about it. I mean, it sucks because I wish we did have something to promote other than, you know, a gig or whatever. But
Sure. Well, I mean, hopefully next year things will start opening back up. I mean,
indeed. Hopefully, man. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. It'll happen.
That stuff, where's the best place for people to go get that stuff? Is on Bandcamp is where you'll put it up?
Yeah. All their shit's on Bandcamp.
iTunes, Spotify.
Yeah, for all the streaming goons. Hell yeah.
All right, so yeah, check out the new EP on their Bandcamp. Look out for the new merch. And I guess, yeah, thank you for doing this, guys.
Yeah, I really appreciate you guys getting up, and we definitely love all the lights and stuff going on. The atmosphere of your jamming room. You said there was 2 bands. Are you sharing your space with somebody?
It's like 5 bands in there.
There is a ridiculous amount of bands in this room. There's like two halves of the room. When we moved in, there was already like 3 or 4 bands in one half of the room, and then we moved in, and now there's
another
3 or 4 bands in our half. So,
but Rochester's so incestuous, so like all these bands, there's literally probably maybe a total of 20 people.
there's 20 people.
There's like 8 bands and like 4 people.
Yeah, there's these bands. Chris and Brian are in one of the other bands. Eric's in one of the other
I'm
bands.
in one of the other bands.
Two of the other
Two of
bands.
the other
Yeah.
bands, yeah. So, yeah, that's about shit.
So who do you just rent the space and you all split it or something?
Yeah. There's a big, yeah. I don't know where I was going with that. I got nothing to say. Yeah, we split it.
Now, who are the other who are the other bands? Anybody we want to plug?
Definitely Chris and Brian's other band, Charmer, and then my other band that I drum in with, of course, you know, Danny Lilker, Blurring, and
I did not know Blurring practiced up there. Okay, yeah, really cool.
Yeah, it's Eric's drum set right there.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, I learned something new. All right, cool.
So I assume all those guys live up there in Rochester.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Cool.
I knew band Bears and Whores.
It's awesome, man.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, no, like Erik said, I really appreciate you guys coming on and shooting the shit with us. Usually I don't like to curse, but I think we broke that rule a long time ago, the dropping the F-bomb and whatnot 100 times. But
Oh, geez, I wish you would have told us not to drop
Oh,
any
we're not
out.
supposed to swear?
I don't know. Fuck it. Who knows what the rules are? So
I think it's all right for YouTube. I think it's all
certainly I'm not going to be editing that shit out. So I'll tell you that much. We'll figure it out soon enough.
It's fine.
Anyway, yeah, I appreciate it. We'll get this thing posted tomorrow. Hopefully people can get through that technical difficulties we had in the beginning. And you know, I wish you luck. I'll put up all the links. All the links will be in the description. And again, really appreciate you guys coming on and doing this interview with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, have a good one.
Appreciate
Later.
it.
Bye.
Keep the technical.